friends. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I'm so happy you're here. My name is Tina Zinck. I live in Nova Scotia, Canada, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up. I've been with them for almost 20 years. And for my friends returning, I'm glad you're here. The card I'm going to share with you today is a fun fold card, and I am using layering circle dies, but you can use layering square dies or rectangle dies, and I will also show you variations using this window card fold. It's a lot of fun, which is why I'm wanting to share it with you today. So without further ado, let's start stamping. In my last video, I showed some cards I made using this designer series paper, which is free during our current celebration promotion. It's called Daffodil Afternoon. Here in Canada, when you spend a minimum of $60 before tax and shipping, you can get this whole package of designer series paper for free. Well, I had these two panels left over from the cards I made in my last video. For these ones, and I am going to just use the supplies I have already got and work on the fly. As you know, some of you may know, I like to just put the camera on while I'm creating, so it's not pre-rehearsed or anything like that, and you can just see how I create using my supplies. So let's just go ahead and start with this panel. So this measures 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to set this aside, but I do need to pick a colored cardstock for my card base. So I want to pick a color that's used in here. And if you're new to stamping, this is a great way to pick your colors when you're starting to make a card. When you have your designer series paper, Stampin' Up! Lists the colors that are used in the paper. So I am going to, I do believe I'm going to use, I think I want to use Flirty Flamingo, just to pull out that little bit of pink that's on this flower here. So I'm going to grab a piece of Flirty Flamingo. I'm going to take my paper trimmer and I'm going to score this down at 4 1/4 because I'm going to get 2 card bases out of this. And then flip it around and cut it at 5 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. I'll either use this in today's video or I've got it for another project for a different day. Okay, now I'm bringing in my die cutting machine and my layering circle dies. And I'm going to use, well, in the next step, I'm going to use the largest scallop circle dies. I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to go with the straight edge circle, which is the next size down, because this is where you're going to need your layering dies, because we're going to make a frame on the next step. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to open my card. I have my platform, my number 2 plate, and then my plastic plate. So I'm just going to put that here. And I'm just lining this up, not quite at the top, not quite in the center. And of course, there's no right or wrong. You can do whatever floats your boat. And I'm going to put my plate on and run that through. Okay, I'm going to save this for a different card. And now I want to make my frame, and I want to use a different cardstock. So let's bring back my brochure again, and I want to go with one of the greens, and we have Evening Evergreen and Mossy Meadow. I want to go with the darkest green, so I'm going to go with Evening Evergreen. Okay, so I've just taken my cardstock and trimmed it down. I'm going to put the same circle on here that I used on my Flirty Flamingo and cut that. Oops, I might not have given myself enough space for that scallop circle die. We will find out. So again, save that for another card. Might have cut that pretty close up here. Let's see. No, I think we're good. Okay, so I'm just positioning this right on top, and this is going to make my little frame piece, and I'm going to put on the front of my card. You could use a post-it note to hold this die down, or what I tend to do is I'll put the edge of my plate right into the slot of the machine, and then I put my plate down to hold that die in place so that it doesn't jiggle around where I don't want it to. Okay, there's my little frame piece. Okay, so let's put a little bit of glue on this. Don't need much. Okay, and this is gonna go right on top. Okay, so there's my window piece. Okay, so I'm gonna move this aside and bring in a piece of basic white, and I want to cut my basic white down to measure 8 by 5. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this at 10 because I know I'm gonna make some more cards today. And spin that around. So now I've cut it at 8 by 10. I'm gonna score it at 4. And I'm gonna cut it at 5. So if you're only making one of these cards, cut your cardstock to measure 8 by 5 and score it at 4. So now this measures 5 by 4 when folded. So this piece of cardstock needs to be trimmed down because I want to glue it onto this. So I'm going to cut this down at 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I'm taking off 1/4 of an inch on the top and on the side. Then what happens is this is going to get glued inside this card base, and you're going to see those pretty flowers coming through. Isn't that fun? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Coming along looking so pretty, and we haven't even done any stamping yet. That beautiful designer series paper is doing all the artwork. Okay, for the sentiment, I'm pulling in my Special Moments Celebration stamp set, and I used this in my last video, which was just a few days ago, and would you believe I've lost the second portion of the stamp set, you guys. I know it's got to be around. I probably put it in the wrong stamp set, so I'm gonna have to go through my sets, or I don't know. I don't know. It's missing in action. That's all I know. And I love this stamp set. Love it. I mean, look at all those sentiments. They just cover so many different occasions, so I have to find it. So this is a strip that was cut off when I cut my basic white, so I want to use it. It measures one inch, yes. So I'm gonna cut this to measure 5 1/4. No, sorry, 4 1/4. There we go. Because I'm gonna have this go across the bottom of my card like that. My evening evergreen. So this says, "Thanks for brightening up my day." Okay, gonna stamp that right in the center. It is -12 here today. Beautiful, sunny, gorgeous day. I'd love to go out for a walk with my dogs, Rosie and Cooper, but it'd be way too cold on their little feet, and they don't like booties. So instead, I've got the wood stove cranked up. I've got turkey soup on the go. We froze the turkey bones and everything from Christmas, so I pulled them out this morning and have a big batch of soup going, and oh my goodness, it smells just wonderful. So is there any better way to spend a cold day than to have soup simmering and stamping and 2 dogs snoring underneath the desk? It's pretty fantastic. Okay, so there we go. So let's stamp the inside while we're at it. Let's see, what have we got for the inside? Thanks for brightening up my day. Let's see what my options are on the stamp set I have here. Oh, for someone who is wonderful in each and every way. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. pulling in some Evening Evergreen open weave ribbon, and again, this is the beauty of Stampin' Up, is how all of our colors coordinate. Makes it so nice. So I'm just gonna, oh, actually I want to make sure this goes in the middle here as well. Make sure it's not twisted. And I'm going to tie a knot down here. So I'll pull this along here. Sometimes a nice little trick is pulling in a glue dot, and that can kind of act as that extra finger to hold your ribbon in place. So I'm just going to put it here. Okay. And I'm going to pull it kind of like an cross, except I don't want that to be twisted. There we go. So I'm pulling it like a cross, and I've pushed down onto that glue dot to hold it in place. And then I'm going to fold this over, pull that up, and then I'm going to pull it on a diagonal. Let's see, like this. So I get a nice knot, and then just trim that up. And if you want, like I'm going to do, you can always add an extra glue dot to hold everything securely in place, like so. And then we have our new brushed brass butterflies, and I think these would be perfect on this card. I'm going to open those up, and I want to put a butterfly right here peeking through that window. So I'm going to just pick one of these up. They already have the adhesive on them, and look at that, looks so great on there. I think I'm going to grab another one, maybe a big one, and put it right here. And I'm going to put that butterfly right up here. And I'm just going to take a tiny pearl and put it right in the middle of this flower here. And because this is a little bit wide, which I didn't think about when I was putting this on, it's not going to want to open that all the way, but that's all right. Isn't that pretty? And the only stamping was the sentiments. So imagine how many cards you can get out of a package of Designer Series paper. If you're loving this paper and you want to get this particular Designer Series paper, the Daffodil Afternoon is available in our celebration brochure until February the 28th. So there is card number 1. Now I want to make another card, and this is using our 6x6 Designer Series paper, and this is also new. It's called Sunshine and Rainbows. You can get this whole stack of Designer Series paper also for free during our celebration, and there are 48 sheets for each of 2 designs. And so look at all that paper, and it's so bright and colorful and beautiful. This Designer Series paper also coordinates with our new Rainbow of Happiness bundle in our mini catalog. This is on page 18. Now, I actually don't have this, but I do have the beautiful paper, and that's what I'm going to be using. So I am going to, let's see, let's pick a pattern. My goodness, it is so hard to pick because these are all so fun. I'm going to go with this one. And I'm going to pull in that second card base that I cut for the first card. And you can see it's got the Flirty Flamingo in here. And this time what I'm going to do is cut this down to measure 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to show you a variation of this card. So 4 by 5 1/4. and I'm going to glue that on the front of my card base. I have the straight lines. I'm going to go ahead and use the stitched rectangles. And make my frame just like I did with the circles. Only this time we're using the rectangles. Actually, let's cut that out first. Okay, I accidentally ripped that, but I'm not going to throw it away. I am still going to use it. I mean, I could make another one, but I don't want to make another one. Okay, so that torn bit, I'm going to put a bow or something there. I'll do something to hide where that tore. You might not even be able to really tell once it's glued on. So let's see. I'll put it here, because if I put a bow on, I'll put it on over here. I like the glue because you can kind of wiggle things around a little bit before it dries. There we go. So now we'll set that aside. Bring in this piece that I also cut earlier, so 8 by 5 folded at the 4 mark. So for this card, I'm pulling in Friends of the Forest. So I'm going to start by stamping my tree. And I am going to stamp all of these with my black Memento and color them with my Stampin' Blend markers, which means those markers are going to bleed through on the other side of this white. So once I'm done coloring, I'm just going to cut another piece of Designer Series paper and glue that on the inside here, which will hide that bleeding. Now, I want this tree to come through over here on the side. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it closer over here. And I'm going to stamp this little stump. And you know what? See, I'm stamping on the fly. You guys know I like to do that. So I need a post-it note because I'm going to do some masking. So I'm going to put this post-it note on a piece of scrap computer paper just so it's easy to cut. Do a couple of them. And I stamped on top of where the sticky part is, so that of course it sticks to my card. So this is the masking technique that I'm going to be doing. And as I'm cutting this, I'm thinking that this little stump would make a great little crown. Oh my goodness. See how fun when you're creating, you come up with different ideas. Like, look. You could use this as a little crown on that little fox. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that would be really fun. Stamped onto gold cardstock or whatever you wanted. Oh my goodness, I just had another thought. How cute would this be as a crown for our new little Awesome Otters stamp set, which you can also get during celebration. I'm gonna have to pull out that set. Let's see. See this little guy? Look, guys, a little crown. Oh my goodness. With the "You Are Utterly Awesome" and the little crown. Yeah, you know I'm gonna have to try that. You heard it here first. Maybe somebody else has come up with that idea. I don't know, but I think that is stinking cute. I just thought of it, and I think it's an adorable idea. So I can't wait to try that. Not on this video though, because otherwise this video will go on way too long, longer than it already has. Some of you mentioned in my last video in the introduction I was wearing my glasses, asking if they were new glasses. They weren't. I normally take them off when I'm filming my introductions, and I just forgot to, but they're not new. I'm wearing them now. Just, you know, you get to that age, sometimes you just gotta have glasses. It is what it is. So I'm stamping right on top of that mask. I'm gonna stamp over here as well. And I'm gonna stamp here. I love masking. Masking is magical. There. And I'm gonna stamp this here. Now I'm gonna put this little bunny on here too. I just haven't decided where yet. And I think that's good. I think that's good. Simmer down. Get a little too excited here. Such a cute stamp set. All right, let's grab my little bunny. I'm gonna stamp him on some scrap paper. So I've got a little strip of basic white. And we have the deer that coordinates with their deer punch. Thinking he'd be cute here. So I'm going to speed this up as I'm coloring and putting the rest of this together. Oh, before I do that, let's pull off these masks because that's always magical. See, isn't that fun? And I'm just going to stick these right in here so then I've got them to use again when I need them. So I'm just going to speed up the video now while I finish coloring and finishing this card. Here's my finished card. It took me quite a bit longer than I anticipated to make. I ended up changing things and making little mistakes that I wanted to fix, but all in all, it turned out really well, I think. And bottom line, I had so much fun making it. And isn't that what stamping and card making is all about, is just having fun. So here's the front, and then the inside. Popped up my little bird. I decided this was looking a little too blank, so that's why I ended up adding some more mushrooms and flowers. And then the inside, when I stamped Glad You're My Friend, of course I didn't use my Stamparatus and it didn't fully ink, so I used my marker and it made it look worse. So that's how I fixed it, which actually I like better because it ties in with how I've got the front sentiment on here. So I'm really pleased with this. I think this is adorable. Happiness is being with you. Glad you're my friend. So wouldn't that just, you know, make somebody's day to get that card? Now I have one more that I've already done, and that is this one. And this is using our new this is using our friendly Hello celebration stamp set and designer series paper bundle. So this was the card that I made for my leaders project sheet this month. So I do have the tutorial, the PDF tutorial available for this on my blog for you, and the link is in the description below. Did exactly the same thing, except I used my layering circles and of course a different stamp set, and I stamped it just in the top left corner so that when it's, you know, closed, you can see a little bit like that. I could have stamped a sentiment here. I may, when it comes time to personalize and send this off to a friend, but right now I think it's quite pretty the way it is. And also my designer series paper to cover the ink that bled through with my Stampin' Blends and the sentiment. I hope today's video has given you lots of inspiration for these window fun fold cards. They really are fun to make, and I hope you'll pull out your crafting and stamping supplies, take some time to have some fun and be creative today, and make a card for someone you love. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Take care and happy stamping.